All right, let's dive right into this. You know that feeling when you look at a naked printed circuit board and it basically looks like, well, a map of some complex alien city? It can be pretty intimidating, right? But just like any map, once you understand the legend, you can navigate the whole thing. Today, we're going to break down exactly how to read a PCB layout and transform that chaotic maze into a clear, logical system.
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, what actually is a PCB? Second, we'll look at the 6 core elements. Third, a recommended reading order. And finally, we'll wrap up with why mastering this skill is an absolute game changer.
Section 1. What is a PCB? We're talking about translating schematics. Look, in a schematic, you've got symbols and lines, right? It's all theoretical logic and ideas. But the layout is reality. It shows exactly where every single component sits in physical space. It dictates how every single electrical connection is physically routed in solid copper, literally layer by layer. It's the physical bridge bringing a theoretical design right into the real world.
Moving to Section 2, the 6 core elements. These are the fundamental building blocks of our board.
So now that we know we're dealing with a physical map, we really need to understand the language it's written in. The legend to our alien city. First up, you've got the traces. Think of traces as the actual copper wires printed straight onto the board. They're the roads connecting everything together. But, and this is key, width totally matters here. Signal traces, usually super thin. They're like the quiet backroads carrying low-current information. Power traces, on the other hand, are way wider. They're your massive multi-lane highways. They absolutely need that extra width to provide more current capacity and reduce electrical resistance so they don't, well, literally burn up under heavy loads.
Next up, we have the pads. These are the exposed metal contact points for soldering. And what's really fascinating here is how their physical shape immediately tells you what they do. Round pads usually mean through-hole connections, meaning a component's wire lead drops directly down into a physical hole in the board. But when you spot rectangular pads, those are for surface mount devices, or SMD. Those components just sit flat right on the top layer of the copper.
Our third core element brings in the third dimension, vias. If traces are the roads, vias are the elevators. Basically, they're these small metal-plated holes that allow an electrical signal to literally jump from one copper layer to another. Because remember, modern circuit boards aren't just flat sheets, they're multi-story buildings, and vias are exactly how our electrical signals travel between the floors to get where they need to go without crashing into each other.
But hey, not all elevators are the same, right? There are 3 main types of vias you gotta know. First, you have your through-hole vias. Just like it sounds, they drill all the way through the entire board from top to bottom. Then you've got blind vias. These connect an outer layer to an inner layer, basically stopping halfway. But honestly, the coolest ones are the buried vias. A buried via connects 2 inner layers together. Because it doesn't ever reach the top or the bottom, it's completely enclosed inside the fiberglass of the board, meaning no way you can't even see it from the outside. You'd literally never know it was there just by looking at the surface.
Speaking of all of these floors in our building, that brings us to element number 4, the board's layer stack. A PCB is basically a high-tech sandwich of different materials. You've got your top and bottom copper layers for outer routing. On fancier, complex boards, you'll have inner copper layers for even more routing. But you absolutely have to distinguish the electrical layers from the non-electrical ones. The silkscreen is that printed white ink that gives you all the labels and component outlines. Zero electricity flows through that. And the solder mask, that's the protective colored coating, usually that iconic green color, that covers the copper to stop short circuits, leaving only our pads exposed.
Okay, element number 5 is massive. Ground and power planes. Instead of just running a thick trace for power or ground, designers will often dedicate large, solid areas of copper, sometimes literally entire internal layers, to a single voltage. Why do that? Well, these massive copper planes act as this huge foundational anchor for the board. They provide a rock-solid voltage reference across the whole circuit and seriously kill electrical noise and interference. They are basically the quiet stabilizing force underneath all the chaotic chatter of the signal traces.
And finally, wrapping up our legend, the 6th element, component footprints. A footprint is the exact physical outline printed on the board that perfectly matches a component's real-world size and pin layout. This is the literal anchor tying the abstract schematic symbol to physical reality. Like if your schematic says a microchip has 14 pins, the footprint on the layout must have exactly 14 pads spaced perfectly to fit that physical chip. If it doesn't, you simply can't solder it on.
All right, Section 3, recommended reading order. Let's look at a foolproof sequence for this.
So you know the legend now, but staring down a fully populated board can still feel pretty overwhelming. How do we actually navigate it? Well, here is a highly actionable 5-step reading order. Step 1. Start macro. Identify the board outline and the mounting holes. This instantly gives you physical context. Step 2. Locate the major components. Find the big chips, the microcontrollers, or the chunky connectors. These are the main landmarks in your city. Step 3. Trace the power and ground connections. Find exactly where the electricity enters the board and how it distributes to those major landmarks using those thick traces or planes we talked about. Step 4. With power sorted, follow the thinner signal paths between related components to see how they're communicating. And finally, Step 5. Check the layer count and look at the via types to gauge just how complex the internal routing really is. If you follow these 5 steps in this exact order, I promise, any board will magically start making total sense.
Section 4. Why master this skill? Let's talk about the real-world benefits.
Being able to read a layout fluently, it empowers you in some pretty huge ways. First off, you can verify a design before fabrication. You can catch critical errors in the physical layout before you drop cash on manufacturing real boards. Second, if you have a physical board that is broken, knowing how to read the traces lets you troubleshoot and repair that faulty board incredibly fast. Third, it really helps you deeply understand manufacturing constraints. You'll instantly see exactly why a trace can't route a certain way just because of physical space limits. And lastly, it gives you the exact vocabulary you need to communicate clearly and professionally with PCB fabrication houses. Seriously, this knowledge saves you time, saves you money, and it simply makes you a vastly better hardware thinker.
Understanding the physical layout is absolutely just as important as drawing the initial schematic. You've got the legend to the map now and a foolproof step-by-step guide to make sense of the chaos. So next time you pull up an electronics project, I leave you with this one question. Are you ready to read your first board